In a market that tends to go down, Raydium is defying all odds. It's in a recovery, and the question is, does it make sense to buy into this recovery? Let's have a look at some on-chain metrics. Let's have a look at the data most people are not considering. Now, here's the common strategy by most people. It's to buy the dips, right? We always want to buy when prices are depressed. We always want to get in when fear is the highest. But that strategy only works in bull markets, right? When Bitcoin retraces by 80% or by 70%, we don't want to end up buying dips of 10 or 20%. We have to look at the macro, and the macro says that we are already relatively high and that we might go lower. This here is the CBBI, so this is an aggregate index for Bitcoin, not for Raydium, and it's using indicators that historically worked pretty well. And again, if we just look at the cycles over time, we are still rather high and we tend to deflate in the price. So maybe instead of trying to buy the dips, maybe it makes sense to do the exact opposite, to short the pumps, to bet on falling prices when we are rallying. Is this what's potentially the right strategy for Raydium now, since Raydium went up by almost 30% in the last week? Again, while the overall macro looks rather bearish. Crypto is highly correlated, right? When Bitcoin is going up, then most altcoins go up as well. When Bitcoin is going down, the altcoins tend to go down as well. So what we're actually interested in is the idiosyncratic movements, as in the movements that are specific to Raydium. Is Raydium going up when Bitcoin is going down? Is it staying stable when Bitcoin is going up? What's the relative valuation? Now we can do this relative to Bitcoin, but probably for Raydium, the better comparison is Solana, because Raydium is the leading decentralized exchange on the Solana chain. And so that's what we see in this chart. This is the Raydium price relative to Solana. And especially at the beginning, when token inflation for Raydium was very large, we saw massive underperformance. So Raydium underperformed Solana by 95%. The token inflation is not a problem anymore. Since beginning of 2024, the supply is stable. And interestingly enough, since that point in time, Raydium was finally able to outperform Solana. And so here's the recent recovery, right? Raydium is able to outperform SOL, and there is potentially more upside. So this is a case of people buying the bottom, right? This is again Bitcoin. That's what the people did in the last few weeks, but it's probably not the right time to bet on falling prices already. The macro is bearish, and in general, we should be betting on falling prices. So we should enter short positions over here. But again, what's true for the macro doesn't have to be true for the micro. If Raydium versus Solana was to do another 100%, so if it was to double, so if Solana stays stable and Raydium is at $4.50 roughly, then it makes sense to short. But right now, the price seems to be still very low. Now let's have a look at the usage statistics. What we've got over here is the capital that's locked up in the Raydium protocol over time. So that's called the TVL, the total value locked, and it peaked in autumn of 2021 at $2 billion. Then came the crypto winter, then we had the recovery and another peak, this time at 3 billion. Now the market is deflating again, very similar to what happened in 2022. Now that capital that's locked up in Raydium has a direct impact on the Raydium price and of course on the market cap of Raydium. Have a look at this chart. So this time we look again at the total value locked, but in yellow we see the market cap of the Raydium token. There is a direct connection, right? When the market cap is low, the capital in the protocol is low as well. And currently it seems like we're rather trending downwards. We can also see how the usage of the protocol tends to go down. So this is the fee revenue per day. How does Raydium generate fees? It's through the swapping activity mainly, right? So if you use a decentralized exchange and you swap from asset A to asset B, then the liquidity providers get a share of the fees. So that's 0.2%, but also the token holders and the team get some fraction of those fees. Now have a look at this. This is the Raydium dominance. So how much market cap of all of crypto is currently in Raydium? And it seems to be fluctuating at a level, but again, the recent rally that we see might just be the beginning. It's possible to buy into this rally, and yes, we could go up by 100, potentially potentially 200%. And this is a viable approach. But again, the question is what is happening with US dollar valuations. Raydium might be able to outperform Solana and the rest of crypto. But if the macro is really bearish, if we're entering a bear market, then that outperformance could just mean that Raydium stays flat while Bitcoin and Solana goes down. Have a look at this. On the left side, we see the number of daily active users on Raydium. On the right side, we see the number of new users. It's clearly visible that the market is cooling off rapidly. But what about the investors into Raydium? So we've got 234,000 holders of the token on the Solana chain. And we can look into those statistics in a bit more detail. On the left side, we've got the number of retail investors. On the right side, we've got the number of whales, and in the middle, something in between. So the way we make this distinction is by looking at minimum holding thresholds. So to be counted for the wallets on the left chart, a wallet has to hold at least 500 Raydium tokens. So at the current price, that's roughly $1,000 worth of the token. So really, those 200,000 holders don't really matter that much. There's only 7,000 holders that have $1,000 worth of the token. We can go another 10x in minimum holding. So it's now 5,000 tokens or $10,000 worth of the token. Then we only have 1,000 such wallets. When we go another 10x, so that's now the whales, they've got $100,000 worth of the token. We've only got 187 such wallets. We can see how there's a long-term accumulation across the board and how this accumulation tends to be the most consistent across the whales. Growth has clearly slowed down, so the number of retail investors has grown by maybe 10% in the last year. It hasn't grown that much for medium-sized retail, but again, the whales are currently supporting the price. And that's probably because of the improved tokenomics, right? There's no new tokens floating around, but the Raydium token is a reflection of trading activity, right? The more trading happens, the more trading volume happens on the Raydium chain, the more attractive it becomes to provide liquidity. The higher the ROI, the more fees are generated through the trading. When trading activity goes down, then the capital flows out of the system as well, and that then means that the price goes down. Again, as proven in this chart. So the big question really is, where do we currently see the macro going? Do we see another wave of meme coin trading on Solana, or do we think that too many people have already gotten burned? My impression is that the better way to approach this market is to find opportunities to short. Again, I think the macro is rather bearish. And because of that macro, it's not just the CBBI that's high. There are several indicators that I'm using. But this video is not about the macro. But because of it, I'm looking for opportunities to bet on falling prices every now and then. Raydium is not one of those opportunities, at least for the time being. But of course, there are some opportunities, right? Those are trades that are made by the community over here. We are shorting altcoins right now. We're not trying to fish for bottoms in the alts. We think that most altcoins currently underperform Bitcoin. And because of that, we're currently making money with that strategy. We're looking for very weak altcoins with bad tokenomics, or we're looking for altcoins that get short-term manipulated, that maybe saw a short squeeze that then deflates. We're looking for those kinds of opportunities, and then we make money with leverage regularly. Most people are scared to follow such an approach. That's why there are several tutorial videos as well, more than 100 videos on tokenomics, on relative valuation charts, on shorting altcoins, what kind of platforms to use, etc. Of course, I am sharing my own trades as well. I tend to make around 2% alpha per month over buying and holding Bitcoin. So that's over the last 3.5 years. Feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. If you want to have a one-on-one call with me directly, then that's included for free in the yearly subscription. So the yearly subscription even saves some money, but there's also the one-on-one Zoom call. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. Helps the channel grow. See you next time here on YouTube, or see you in Premium. Cheers.